Welcome to Coffee Habit number 2. This is my final video for tonight. So I'm going to go do one of my top buzzes. Alright? So, let's see. 7 comments. Who likes what? Yeah, I'm going to do this one. Alright. So, before I do this, let me break this down for you. During one of the protest things with George Floyd dying, a couple of court um, workers, if you would, did some really stupid shit. Alright? Now, the fact that these two are lawyers is outstandingly astonishing. And the fact that they are lawyers is why I'm doing this, because I have been studying police science and criminal justice. My criminal justice certificate should be coming soon. All I have is I think 4 more classes, and I'll have my degree in police science. Alright, so these two lawyers, I'm going to show you them. They are people of color. One is a black man, the other lady is either Latin or she might be mixed. But those are them. Alright, so 2 lawyers of color face 45 years sentencing for vandalism. If you haven't seen their profile pics, when they got busted, their pictures they had on the mask, but you could clearly see who the woman was. They didn't really show the black guy, but you could clearly see that the woman was her. And if I may play devil's advocate, first off, unacceptable. Second off, if it is acceptable, then that's on the dark side. But what you really should have done was wore better costumes, because their costumes were dead fucking giveaways. You know, if you're gonna commit a crime, I'm sorry, I'm not promoting crime. Let me disclaimer that right now. Nothing that ever comes from committing a crime ever. All right, and I'm saying that because the truth is that when you commit crimes, you pretty much fuck it up for everybody else. So here we go. In high school English assignment in which students were asked to describe themselves as a Metatrap, Colin Crawford King Mathis had a lot of fun with his essay. Mathis described himself as a peace and vigilant furniture. I don't know what that means. Furniture, whatever. You aren't sure what you want, but bring it home. Anything you put in the room. And somehow perfectly brings the room together. And you don't know how you'll live without it in the first place. In recent days, dozens of colleagues and friends and former classmates have come together to reach the same hopeful metaphor as 32-year-old lawyer sits from Brooklyn jail awaiting bail hearing. They say they can't imagine a room without Mathis in it. He is a loyal, community-minded man who posed no threat to society and deserves to be released pending trial, they argue. Mathis, along with, holy crap, I can't pronounce this person's name, so I'm going to spell it out for you. Urroj Rahman. That's probably not pronounced right, so let me spell that for you too. Rahman, 31, was arrested in New York on May the 30th during a protest against racism and the police brutality following the death of George Floyd. At the hands of the Metropolitan Police officers, the two were charged in attempting to burn an unoccupied. I don't know what the hell that means. Already damaged New York City Police Department vehicle. Nobody was injured in the incident. Now Mathis and Rahman face an additional federal charge that carries a 45-year mandatory minimum sentence and up to a life in prison for what essentially amounts as property damage. Oh, they're trying to make examples out of these two. That's all that is right there. They're trying to make an example. The activists and lawyers are armed by unusually harsh charges being brought against them. I believe that it is kind of harsh, believing Mathis and Rahman should not be awaiting trial in jail. They say that they are no threat to society, which is persuaded an argument, and it's highly unlikely that they are a flight risk or will commit another crime. Mathis is a corporate lawyer educated in Princeton and NYU law. Rahman went to Forenham Law, I never heard of them, and works in the Bronx Legal Services helping low-income clients fight evictions and housing court. Both grew up in New York and are deeply connected to their communities. Mathis and Rahman, a black man and a Muslim woman, sat in jail at the same time that Derek, I don't know how the hell you say this name, Chauvin, the white police officer who killed George Floyd, awaits his trial from the comfort of home. And while the police officers who fatally shot Breonna Taylor have not even been charged and brought against them, clearly this is all. The contrast in the treatment of the white murdered defendant and the two activists of color are particularly sharp. At this point, the people around the world are in uproars and demonistic against racism. Lawyers familiar with their cases and highly unusual defendants like Mathis and Rahman, Ivy League educated and human rights minded, with no history of violence, have been held in jail without bail. The decision of whether the defendants are released or detained pertaining trial determine whether they can be at home, contributed to their legal defense, or whether they should be in jail, where COVID-19 continues to run rampant, where inmates are frequently targeted of violence, where they were separated from their attorney peers and friends. Hundreds of law students and professors at NYU, more than 850, wrote and expressed of their concern for their federal government assistance aggression towards the prosecuting and pretrial detainment, so that the legal services staff and association union, Fordham Law School, gathered 650 signatures from the students and faculty. They wrote, "We believe that the Department of Justice is prosecuting the efforts of the lady whose name I can't spell and Colin are grossly overreached in federal law enforcement power and attempt to stifle the delegitimizes dissent against police brutality." The heads for Match's former high school and boarding school at Andrews in Delaware issued a statement of the school community support their former student. HuffPost spoke to Darcy Caldwell, Caldwell, his former English teacher, who described him as a teenager who was overcome with enormous academic hurdles to become successful in her class. Colin has so much goodness to offer the world, and I hope he has a chance to do that. So she said. Alexis, again, Caldwell, Darcy's daughter, attended the school with Mathis and was on the trip to school to convince him in 2006 that he would always be social justice minded. Caldwell said she remembers boarding the bus to the hotel and how he and his friend, holy crackoli, I can't pronounce this, so I'm just gonna have to spell it for you. IkennaIheoma, couldn't stop talking about the senator they met. It wasn't someone she had heard of before, but his name was Barack Obama, and they even took a picture with him. Okay, I'm not, well, yes I am. There you go. After the arrest of Mathis and Ramen Noodle Chick went before the magistrate judge Stephen M. Gold, who presented their arraignments virtually. He found that Mathis and her could be safe to be released with the electronic monitors, but then the federal prosecutor appealed the ruling, and they believed the two were potentially threats to society and a flight risk. This was the case in examining the district of Judge Margot K. Brody. God, I hope that's how you say Margot. Margo. Looks like Margot to me. She reviewed the judge of Gold's decision and determined that Mathis and Ramen, goddammit, Ramen Noodle, should be released too. Mathis and Ramen were released on a $250,000 bond. to go home in confinement with GPS monitoring. From their cases took a high universal turn, according to the lawyers and familiars. At almost immediately, the government filed a notice of appeal. They announced that they were going to seek an emergency stay in the district and sending them home. On June 5th, the three-judge panel in the U.S. Court appealed for the Second Circuit Court, revoking Mathis and bond on the basis of the defendants were conditional dangerous to society. They were taken back into custody that day. This is fucked up ass shit. The noteworthy to the three judges of the panel, Judge Michael H. Park, Judge M. W. William J. Nardi. What the fuck? Nardi? You know what? Judge William J. Nardini were appointed to the President Donald Trump's lawyers say. The disappointment of the prosecutor of the lady whose name I can't pronounce, Ann Collin, is another iterant of Trump's administration attempt to distract the people from police violence in the U.S. And the four-harm school, this damn thing is long as hell. Indeed, Rahan, Pakistani and Muslim immigrant, Mathis, a young black man, were convenient scapegoats given the county deeply entrenched violent history of anti-black racism and Islamophobia. You know what? Let me spell that for you. Islamophobi. You know what? Screw it. Anyway, this is an extraordinary move. The government has ordered them back to jail, while J.W. Wells Dixon, a senior staff or an attorney of constitutional rights, what stands as harsh contrast in the nation that we would, if a white police officer stands accused of murdering a black man, you get out of jail on bail, he said. But if a black and a Muslim, you are too dangerous to await trial at home. It illustrates that everything that has gone wrong in the criminal justice system. Dixon said that in a phone call with the Huffington Post, it is the reason why thousands of people are taking to the streets around the world. Yeah, this goes on and on and on, but they're up to facing 45 years mandatory, which is on Tuesday. Mathis and Roman, you know what? The Muslim lady will go before another panel of judges, none of them Trump appointees. All right. So, my whole thing, my perspective has changed, but I'm going to put what I said on there. And what I said on there was, y'all knew better. For God's sake, y'all know the law. Better have worn better disguises before doing something crazy. And y'all did crazy things that y'all did. In other words, I was telling them that they know better for doing the shit that they done. However, after reading that long as fuck article, I have decided that I'm not going to change my mind. They did know better. But the aftermath, the treatment that they are getting is borderline bullshit. Let me rephrase that. It's not even borderline bullshit. It is straight up bullshit. Because everything I just read is like, it's kind of fucked up that these two can go to jail for burning an empty police car. But the guys who killed a police officer, or police officers who killed a black man, they get no time. They're at home. I just watched something on Entertainment Tonight, or one of them shows tonight, and one of the ladies that was following the guy around who killed George Floyd, or at least one of the guys involved in killing George Floyd, around. I'm like, damn. And she recorded him and everything, so you guys can go find that. But yeah, my perspective has changed a little bit. I don't think that they have been treated fairly. And so, I guess that kind of wipes out my better thing. And it kind of does. But there's another one that I'm going to do. So I'm going to make a second video to my top buzz. So get ready.